excited to introduce our guest today, Hannah Williams. She is a local artist in Glens Falls, and she's here to talk about her new mural project. Thank you so much for sitting down to talk with me today, Hannah.
Of course, thank you.
Absolutely. So let's start with right out the gate, this amazing project that you're about to undertake. Can you tell me a little bit about what it is exactly you'll be doing starting hopefully on Thursday, the 25th of August?
hmm So essentially, the design that was approved by the building owners and the arts district is the theme that was applied for submission was Glens Falls related. So we kind of narrowed it down to this design of nature theme, um, and kind of with like local wildlife and then also local plants, native plants. So I kind of have a nice mix of things that you could find in Glens Falls, like more with the native flowers, and then some animals that you can see either right outside of Glens Falls, more in the Adirondacks. So I have a black bear, I have a barred owl, nice throw in with kind of a moon, like a full moon and constellations that you can see, and then just native flowers and then lightning bugs. And a really cool, it's going to be actually on mostly on the longest side of the building, which is 80 feet long, and it's going to wrap around slightly to the front to kind of give it more of an interactive feel, more three-dimensional feel when you look at it at a certain angle. So it's very exciting.
That's so awesome. And now remind us where exactly the building is.
Yes. The building's at 20 Warren Street. So it's right when you're leaving that traffic circle onto Warren. It's kind of like the last building that's kind of grouped all together. It used to be the old dive shop for scuba dive shop, for people that remember that. I can't remember what it was prior to that over the years, but I was told that it's one of the oldest buildings, like one of the first buildings they built in Glens Falls, in that area. So yeah, it's right there. It had a working fountain. I don't know why. I wonder if they'll actually get the fountain going again because of this project. That would be sweet because it's kind of been inactive for some years, but it's that building that has the large parking lot with the old school like cement kind of fountain. So we'll see.
That would be really cool to have that fountain back up and running again and having it be underneath your mural. Oh my goodness, that would
Yeah,
be whew,
for
breathtaking.
sure.
So, you talked about you're painting these flowers and wildlife that's native to our area. You are also from this area. So, can you touch a little bit about what it means to be one of the first muralists on a large building in Glens Falls? And also on the building that's one of the oldest in Glens Falls. That's a pretty cool juxtaposition between past and current day.
Absolutely. This project means everything to me. I've been so passionate about public art and murals, especially in this town. I'm so inspired by anywhere I go and travel. That's the first thing I look to is where's the public art, where are the muralists at? And so I've been wanting this for almost a decade once I got into more large scale work. And almost like for anyone that knows me, it's pretty funny because they just know like over however many years, like whenever we're walking around downtown Glens Falls, I'm always like, we need murals. I want this wall. I just need to paint something, like someone give me a chance for so many years. And um I'm sure people are just, have gotten sick of me saying it so many times over the years. So it just means so much that it's actually happening. It's something I wasn't expecting Glens Falls to do for a very long time. And now that it started last year with the electrical boxes, that was a great start to public art, a great introduction, especially to see the community's reactions. And it's been nothing but positive. So now to kind of launch into having a couple of murals, and hopefully that will grow over the years. We'll have multiple. It's just I have so many feelings about it, and I know it's still building. Like once I actually get that first brush stroke on the wall, like I'm probably going to feel emotionally overwhelmed, but in a positive way. It's just like I've worked so hard for this moment and wanted this for so long.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive in deeper to that, because from the public perception, I mean, I think that was first reported on, remind me, probably like a couple weeks ago, right? That you got granted permission to, you were awarded this grant to do this for on this specific building in, on Warren Street. But how long has of a process, excuse me as I just trip over my words, but how long of a process has it been to get from point A to point B, which is about to start this mural?
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, talking to several people that are kind of the forefront of the arts district, the Glens Falls Arts District, and then this is all actually a part of the DRI grant, the revitalization grant of Glens Falls, which I think like that has been at least 10 years in the making. So it's pretty exciting time for Glens Falls right now, because not only is the project with the arts, but also if you go along Park Street, they're redeveloping right behind where Crew Coffee is, where 42 Degrees used to be. That's all commercial residential spaces that are being built. So there's a lot going on. So I mean, as far as from the beginning to now, it's at least been 10 years in the making, just from the initial idea and project of the arts district and the arts trail, and now leading up to public art. So that's been on the back burner. They've been trying hard for 10 years at least. So once they finally did the electrical box, last year, they painted, I think, 6 or 7. Mine's on Washington and Bay. And then there's, about 6 or 7 other artists surrounding that area. They put out the public call for the murals in the fall. And then we were all notified early winter, I think around January. So the conversation began then in early January of this year. And it's been going ever since. Just kind of starting the conversation, figuring out everything that needed to be, working out the budget, the contracts, the art itself. For me and on my project personally, there was a lot of inner workings of, I was approved for actually just doing native flowers. I've kind of been leaning towards this the past few years with my murals, especially more public ones that people can see, is trying to make it more interactive and educational. So I love tying in nature uh, and just curiosity of these objects in nature, giving people a chance to be like, oh, well, what kind of plant is this? Like learning about the plant, and then hopefully they find these things in nature as well. So initially, my design was just native flowers, but it totally transformed, like I said, into something totally different. I was able to keep the small theme of the native flowers, but then apply, more local wildlife as well. So, I mean, the board meeting for approval was August 2nd. So, I mean, we're talking a timeline of almost 10 years of developing, figuring out, and then from January of me being notified to August 2nd. It's been crazy.
That is a long time to get a mural program started in
Yeah.
a city. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. I mean, sometimes I don't think people like that saying, and I understand why, because horrible things can happen. But it also goes to show that, that discussion started 10 years ago, but 10 years ago, you weren't in a position to paint a mural on
Exactly.
Warren Street. So for 10 plus years, you've been working as a muralist. So let's talk about that a little bit. What got you specifically to this point?
Hmm.
When was your first mural? How many have you painted? And why do you love it?
Yeah. So to kind of like go all the way back to the beginning of just my passion for art, I've been a working artist for for almost 15 years now, taking it seriously. I got really passionate about it in high school. I had a wonderful teacher um, that just really supported and saw that I had a passion for it and just really thrived at in her classes and just having that kind of, I don't know, just that support at the time of being just a teenager and going through whatever you're going through, to have that outlet and support. It did. I give my teacher so much credit. It's Sandra Jabot. She has retired she's been retired for almost 10 years. But I can't thank her enough to this day of just kind of harvesting, this, I don't know, just passion and support, and like just believed in me and my abilities. And so from then on, when I got to college, I graduated Queensbury in 2011 and went to SUNY Adirondack from fall of 2011 and graduated in 2013. Um, I just got more serious about it. And at the time, my partner that I was with then was in a band. And so we were kind of talking about what other visual aspects can be brought to live music. And we talked about live painting and me painting something in front of their set. They would play in a few different venues around here. And so it all kind of started there. And I loved it so much, just kind of the performance aspect, the visual aspect of it, and how much people felt a part of the art itself, because they were able to see it from start to finish. So I got really into that and started doing live paintings, not only for them, but at music festivals. I had a little tour that I did for the summer and whenever I could, and traveled to different festivals around New York State. And we built this frame, 10 foot by 10 foot frame out of PVC pipe. And you're a college kid, so you don't have a lot of money to invest in like actual canvas. So brilliantly, we thought of going to the thrift store and purchasing bed sheets, because it's like, all right, well, what could fill the 10 foot by 10 foot space? And so I would, um, put grommets all around so I could suspend it up on the frame. And the first time that I was going to do this, that we had planned for this festival, I was extremely nervous. I didn't really know, I haven't really worked that large before and in front of people in public and that whole aspect. So I didn't really know how it was going to go. But I got so zoned in, and just loved the kind of like, when you work large scale, it's just so much physical movement, and like you really feel like you're putting your all into it. And a lot of people don't realize that too with murals, is how physically taxing it is, because you're constantly moving. But getting back to that moment, I got so zoned in and just loved the movement of it and what I was doing. And I kind of got lost in creating for a few hours. And I'll never forget when I actually took a break to kind of turn around. I was just expecting to just walk away, but there is actually a group of people sitting down quietly watching me. And it was kind of this moment of like, wow, art is important. People gravitate towards it. There's some meaning behind this, kind of like this moment of like, wow, if I had this sort of reaction, like what happens, beyond this live painting or just working large scale. And so just the rest is history. I was just became obsessed with working as largely as possible. Um, so from then, I think it was probably the same year I graduated from SUNY Adirondack in 2013. I was just like so ready to have the opportunity to try to get a mural going. But I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was just like searching everywhere. And I actually had my first mural job because of a search on Craigslist, funny enough. And it's for my first mural ever. You can still see it's almost, murals fade over time. And like I said, it was my first mural, so I just didn't have any experience on the research or using the right products or prepping my surface accordingly or keeping in mind, the sun that it gets and like the UV and how that would affect it over time. So it's cool in one sense because it shows the years have gone by, but it's at Cody Insurance Agency right next to Mr. Bell's Car Hop in South Glens Falls. And so it's like this red sports car kind of blasting through the wall and then kind of like almost looks like Washington County. You have like these rolling farm fields and hot air balloons. And so yeah, I saw the call on Craigslist for an artist and I'm like, I don't know, for some reason I felt confident. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. And so from then on, I just kind of went for it.
And how many murals have you done now?
I have done on walls around this area 22.
That's amazing. I mean, I love that whole story that you just told from start to finish because it shows what the power of one believing in yourself and your abilities, where that can take you. You didn't do a mural before. You, as you said, you didn't know how to prep it. You didn't think about the UV light, but you still did it and you still made a really beautiful product that's still there. Yeah, it
Yeah.
may not have aged the way your mural that you will be painting will age because you have 10 years of experience and 22 murals under your belt, but it just goes to show how powerful that belief in yourself is and just doing the thing that you want to do. And I think that now that you're being able to tell your story and you really are going to be so out there. I mean, you are going to be hanging off a boom lift safely,
Mhm.
painting an 80-foot wide building in front of all of downtown Glens Falls. And I think that's just a beautiful full circle moment for you.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that until now, but kind of all of these events and experiences that I've had the past 10 years have really prepped me for this moment of even just like you said, being able to handle the publicness of it and having to interact, like going back to the live paintings. It's a very public interactive thing. People are constantly coming up and talking to you about the process and what's going on and all of that. I also need to give credit to after I graduated from SUNY Adirondack in 2013, I think from 2016 to 17, I had the opportunity to work at Adirondack Studios out in Argyle. And I owe them a lot of just appreciation of the experience I gained there is so valuable. That really helped me propel into me doing this as a business now. I learned so much from my time, just a year of being there. And I also like to give them a shout out whenever I can, because if there's students or, younger people around here, it is hard sometimes to find a creative job that's realistic and tangible. And really Adirondack Studios is it. If you're looking for more of a traditional job setting, but it's creative, but you get benefits and insurance and, a decent paying job and wage. That's really the only opportunity that exists here in this area. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get in. It's hard to get in, but there's many opportunities, not only for painters and muralists, but if you're a metal worker, if you're a carpenter, if you work with fiberglass, there's opportunities for everybody there to be able to work on creative projects. So it's just, I actually was able to work. Um, it gave me my confidence in the sense it was very challenging the year I was there because it was very competitive in the department. So it was a lot of learning, um, and staying true to my self-confidence and my abilities. It was definitely challenging in that environment. But I worked on some crazy projects and we did, I'm pretty sure, up to 50,000 square feet, if you can imagine, on multiple projects. We were working on canvases 100 feet long, up to 20 feet tall, and we all painted it on the floor with bamboo sticks and paintbrushes. And it was the coolest thing. But I learned so much, like on the production side of what goes into large projects like that. How to figure out how much paint you need, so many techniques and that I learned in that time that are just so valuable to what I do now.
I'm so happy that you touched on that because I know that when we have talked before, you did talk about that production list of what you had to, sit down and brainstorm from start to finish for this project. So it sounds like you really were able to learn a lot, just how from a business
Yes.
standpoint. And so can you talk a little bit about that aspect of a mural project? Because I think, the misconception is artists aren't technical and they can't like work from a large budget and there's just these preconceived notions that maybe business minded people who that's what they do don't understand about artists. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, there is the misconception that the artist is lazy or can never, you know, get their stuff together, organized in enough time, kind of like this laissez-faire kind of attitude. And believe me, there is a little bit of that, but there is a lot of us that take it seriously and professionally. And I'm trying to think of what I wanna express here with this. It's hard because there's no school specific for wanting to be a professional muralist. There just isn't there, and it's not even that. Like there's so much that has to go into this. Like not only to learn how to paint a mural, but then there's a whole other business aspect of it. So you're really on your own if this is kind of like the career path you want. You have to learn everything. You have to be an entrepreneur, you have to be organized, you have to know the process of what you're doing, be your own advocate. Um, there's just, it's really something that you just kind of have to learn on your own. Because there's so much that goes into it, in the setting. It's not, it's funny because now I understand why there's like graffiti artists or like illegal art, because it's so much easier to just not have to run anything by anyone and just throw up something, because there's so much that goes into the proposals and finding a business or building owner that's willing to have you put up something on the wall, going back and forth with a budget, or whatever that is, figuring out the paints and materials, getting permits. So much goes into play. Like even this project alone has been, I owe thank yous to so many people that have kind of made, there's so many parts of this whole of just this project alone. um and it's amazing too that I've been able to work all with local businesses and kind of disperse that business between all of us to get to this point. I had to work with a local insurance agency to get general liability insurance. I had to work with a lift company to get certified in a boom lift and get their rental. And who else? I mean, work with a paint company. It just kind of goes down the line. I'm totally missing other people here, but it's just like so involved.
Well, and I think that you just expressed that so beautifully. You're just so grateful for this opportunity, and everything I've seen you post, say, in person when you gave a tour to people about the mural, you are just so positive. And I know that not all the feedback has been super positive, but regardless, you've remained positive. And I think that is really something that you should be commended for. And you're lifting all these other people up as you're going up. And that's such a prime example of what we need in this world, especially a woman in business. And you bring such grace and um, serenity, really, to business in our area. And so for that, I thank you and I commend you. And we are running, we have like 5 minutes left.
Oh wow.
So I know it's this just, I love this conversation so much. And I have a feeling we'll be having many more.
Yeah.
But before we go, I just wanted to ask, like, maybe a little bit of advice that you would give to a young artist, any young artist, but maybe particularly female, who's looking to do something so large scale like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of having to stay your ground and be your own advocate. It's hard and it's definitely not easy, but it's rewarding in the end if you stick with it and you don't give up. For any young artist that wants a career path like this, you just have to be willing and open to have discussions, reach out to your favorite muralist. It's amazing. I've been able to talk to world renowned national muralists, and sometimes there's the ego of some people don't want to discuss their kind of process, or they want to keep it a secret, and I understand that, to protect themselves. But there's really enough for everybody in this business. But you'd be surprised, just reaching out to people you look up to in the field you want to be in, the willingness to dispense their knowledge and experience, be open to that, constantly, try to refine, and do research how you can do better for each project. Constantly do research on different products that you should use or how to prep different surfaces. And aside from that, just be your own advocate, and also keep in mind, I can't stress this enough, to protect yourself financially and legally in this business can be a challenge, if you don't write your own contracts or get somebody to advise you or help you in writing contracts. I can't express contracts enough. Have people sign, present it, and people will take you more seriously just in that regard, to be like, okay, you're holding them accountable in this kind of setting and format. And I've had my own personal experiences of getting screwed over, for lack of a better word, and not getting paid my time, because I didn't have those things in place. So, and it could be easy, just a one-page contract can go a long way. But that's pretty much my best advice.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for that. I'm sure that's going to definitely help some up and coming artists very soon. And before we go, where can people find you online?
Yeah, people can find me on Instagram at Han Williams Art, HAN Williams Art, and as well as my website. You can go to www.hanwilliamsart.com or hwilliamsart, however you remember it, both direct you there. And yeah, those are my primary sources. I'm always on Instagram more than Facebook, but
Awesome. Thank you so much for this awesome conversation. I just said awesome twice in one sentence. Oh, well, it was. I can't wait for people to hear this, and definitely stop and see Hannah. She's painting this beautiful mural that's going to just brighten up our city. So yeah.
Yes, I will be starting my doodle grid, which is a new form of being able to scale up a mural, Wednesday evening, and I'll
Okay.
be ready to go Thursday. And I have hopefully I'll have from Thursday till September 8th straight.
Nice.
You'll be able
Woo!
to be out there. So,
Awesome. Well, we will definitely be following that and we can't wait to see it.
all
We'll
right.
talk again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.